Hey there, welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Gyro Step podcast network and the Blue Wire podcast network. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windisch. I am joined as always by the back online Rohan Katti. We intended to do this pod last night. We were recording this on Saturday. Last night was the Bucks' last preseason game against the Dallas Mavericks. The preseason is now over. We are looking ahead to the NBA season. We're excited to do so. But Rohan, you're back online. How's it going?
Usually, I'd be happy about that. I am happy that I'm back online. Just being back online sometimes is like, maybe you should go back offline.
Maybe we should all be offline. Really?
Yeah. No, I need the internet. So it's good to be back. I'm heavily dependent on it for a lot of things. So I don't know why I'm admitting all of this right now, but we're here.
We are indeed here. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited about the 2021-2022 Milwaukee Bucks. The reigning champion, the title defense year, all that stuff. So we each have a list of 4 things that we're excited about. It's not 5 things because I declared, without even asking, but I feel pretty confidently you're going to agree. Our number one thing for both of us is Giannis. I think Giannis is by far the biggest story of the Bucks preseason. As excited as we are about some new players, some new wrinkles, some returning players, I mean, how can Giannis shooting 66% from 3 over his 3 games not be the takeaway? So we're starting the number one reason for Bucks excitement, as it has been for the past 5 years. Hopefully will continue to be for the next 5 years, is Giannis. We've glossed over Giannis's greatness too often. We're not doing that today. We are starting with Giannis. Rohan, break it down. Why are we, I said some of it, but why are you so excited about Giannis heading into this season?
I don't even think you said it. You said 66% from 3 in the postseason. That's not why I'm excited. It really isn't. Because we've seen his 3-point shot come and go. We've seen it just be like, oh, is this what he needs to add to his game? We've seen him be a little trigger happy just a couple months ago from 3. It's like trying to match KD pull up 3 for pull up 3. It's like just go back and listen to my reactions to those things. So the thing I'm more focused on is just the mid-range. Just the mid-range pull-ups, the turnarounds, little Dirk step-back fades. It's just like, oh my goodness. It looks like he was attacking, trying to get those type of shots in the preseason, which is fair for the preseason. Again, during the regular season, during the playoffs, he's still going to be attacking the rim. He's still going to be doing what he does best. But if you're just working on that is incredible, and you're hitting it at such a high clip. Like, my goodness, that's more important. We've mentioned that this is more important than a 3-point shot, and I still stand by that.
Yes, I agree. I've got the number, and funny enough, he only shoots 58% from free throw on his 12 attempts, so that was not great. But from Dalton Sell, friend of the podcast at Sell_Dalton. Good morning. This morning he tweeted this. Giannis shot 5 for 7 from the mid-range and 4 for 6 from deep in the preseason. Like, the threes are exciting. And I will say, as someone who's been burned before, I do think his shot looks better than we've seen it. It's 3 games, 6 shots, sounds like such a small sample. But with Giannis in the past, 2 to 3 years, it was literally like game to game. Like, one game it would look good. The next game, maybe the next night, it wouldn't look so good. He's looked consistently smooth and fluid shooting the 3 games we've seen. But I do agree the mid-range is even more exciting. And the way he is, he's not settling for mid-range shots. When the mid-range shots are there, he's just going and just taking them. It's not like, oh, he couldn't get his drive and there's nothing else to do, so he's hoisting up a midi. He's like, oh, you're sagging that far back? Okay, then I'll dribble right here and take this midi, and he's draining them. The fadeaways, it is an exciting time to watch the Bucks.
But even in those fadeaways, there's sort of an element of him going for those shots as well. Like, you could see a little baseline turnaround Hakeem-esque, which was just like, what is happening right now? I believe it was on Tim Hardaway Jr. If
Yeah,
I
I
saw
think
the
it
clip
was.
correctly.
Yep. On the
This little
baseline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baseline turnaround. It's like, okay, he's worked on that. That is a very fluid move. And fluid is just it's the buzzword because we've seen his shot. He's taken those shots before, right? This isn't like we're seeing new things from Giannis in terms of the type of shots that he's taking. We've seen these shots before. It just looks different.
Yeah.
Like it feels different. The release point looks different. The form looks different. It looks more fluid. I don't know if you saw the clips. I think our friend Jake Reitz was tweeting about this. He's been all over the Giannis shooting.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. He has.
Just comparing a Khris pull-up three with the Giannis pull-up three, and they look identical.
That would be a good person to get a shot for him from.
Yeah, it would be.
You can do worse.
But they look exactly the same. I encourage everyone, and even you, to go look at that clip because it is incredible.
Like, and what you know what the reason I'm really excited about Giannis and all of this stuff is his first possession of the preseason was still a low post touch that he went right through Darius Bazley for 2 points. Like, this stuff is great, but it should always only be the changeup or the curveball if you want to go deep into pitching metaphors, right? Like, the fastball will always be get to the rim, dunk through somebody, or go around somebody and drop the ball in. That's always Giannis's heater. That's always 60+% of what he's going to be doing. But if you have the changeup of the midi, the fadeaways and the middies and all that stuff around the painted area, and then the curveball of also hitting the threes every now and again when you're wide open on the perimeter, that's when you go from, dominant enough to win a championship just doing mainly the post stuff. Although there was some mostly shorter fadeaways, but some mid-range stuff in the playoffs.
A lot of hooks,
too. A lot of hooks, a lot of jump hooks. But like the more you expand your range, the easier it is. I think in the Dallas game, you could really see that because he shoots more from deep early. And you just see the Mavs defenders inching farther and farther out, right? Like, oh, we can't be a step and a half away. We have to be out there. We have to contest. And then, I mean, if you are whoever, whatever big white guy they have on the perimeter.
Maxi Kleba,
Porzingis when he's healthy. They also have Powell too. Like, if you're right out there with Giannis, you're not keeping up with him. Like, he's going to be able to beat you and dunk. And then you either are sending help or he's dunking all day. Like, it was already impossible to guard him the way he had started playing. And I think we're still going to see, we kept seeing pick and rolls where he's the roll man. We kept seeing post touches, right? Like, that stuff isn't going away. But if he does more of the shots, again, he's never going to have a Steph Curry shot diet. But if you
we don't know that at this point.
We don't. Listen, I've said this before. I was like, listen, Giannis, for this postseason, be a center, but what he's accomplished, I'll never write. You're right. We should never write off anything. Giannis can do literally anything, but he'll probably never have a Steph Curry shot diet. But if
I'm hearing Ty's a doubter. Ty's a hater.
If you have to respect him from mid-range and from three, that's when it goes from like impossible to guard him to just like laughably impossible. Like, there's nothing left because we've never seen a player who can score in the interior like Giannis, who has legitimate threats everywhere else. Like, even LeBron.
Imagine Shaq and Kobe in one player.
Yeah, and do we think he's going to get to Kobe from mid-range? Probably not, but just being credible.
But that archetype.
Yes. Like,
that archetype has never been seen. Ever.
No. It's an
We're
exciting
hyping
time.
ourselves.
It's an exciting time. Well, we're not that far ahead of ourselves.
That's true.
He's got a top 15 peak according to Josh Eberle's Sporting News peaks thing that I voted in. I had him top 10, but a top 15 peak already. He's got the Finals MVP. He's got 2 MVPs. Like, we're not that far ahead of ourselves, but now
third one incoming.
Yeah, I think so.
And second.
Yeah. Second ring, second FMVP, third MVP. I actually don't think he's going to end up with the DPOY though.
Nah.
Probably not. I think, you know why? I think Jrue is going to get too much respect now after the finals. And
what if Jrue gets it?
I think it's going to be a split.
See, but they both made first team last year, didn't they?
Yeah, no, I mean DPOY.
Oh, in terms
DPOY.
of, I guess they'll split that.
Yeah, I think the Bucks will have at least 2 defensive player guys. Brook might sneak on
I think
one.
it's probably still going to be 2.
The way Brook is
regular season
probably
Brook.
not. Probably not. Yeah. I think they'll have 2.
Brook making an all defense team just in general is an incredible career accomplishment.
It is, considering the way he started. Okay, wait. Let's get back to Giannis before we get to other stuff. Are there any other Giannis thoughts? For me, just seeing him add more of the shots to he's also doing more of the center type stuff, right? Like, the issue with Giannis previously is he really just never rolled consistently. He was not posting up in the low block. He's still doing that stuff, but he's also like, his perimeter touches are now like 60-40 drives to shots. And it's really exciting that he's adding that stuff without taking away the centerish stuff that got him the championship.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And again, this is why we're very excited, because we're going to see this all play out. Because I think you tweeted about this. It was last year that the Bucks used their regular season as sort of defensive playground. Now it's going to be offensive playground. So it's going to be fun. It
is indeed. And I think one last encouraging Giannis thing. Remember, we were getting a little nervy about his health and his knees. My knees hurt every day. My knees are bleeding,
which is
profusely.
Still concerning. Wait, he said that?
What?
He said they're bleeding
I don't
profusely?
Know. No. That was me exaggerating. But
what?
He like at one point, like the quote from Grease, he sounded like the my leg guy from SpongeBob. Like, I didn't know if he had legs anymore. But he played after he got back, he played every game. And like the last preseason game where Khris wasn't playing. So when I saw Khris not playing, I was like, maybe the starters will play less and they just want to get through this and get to the regular season, which is only like 4 days from that game. Giannis plays like the first 9 minutes and goes on to play like more than 20 minutes. I think he probably got up to close to 25 minutes. So the fact that he didn't take any games off after he got back does make me feel better about that knee. Because we talked about those knees. We talked about like, they're going to be cautious in preseason. There's no way they're going to push in preseason. I don't think they were pushing. I think it's like all this with Giannis. Like, he's going to have some knee soreness. He'll miss some games here or there. But I don't think it's a huge deal. And I don't think it's anything that's all that new to him. He's superhuman.
Yeah, that's true. We should have learned that by now. But I'm still going to be cautious. I'm a very cautious, nervy person.
My caution is thrown to the wind now.
That's just who I am. But yeah. I don't know. You're right. We should be encouraged by this preseason.
I think
in that respect.
In almost every sense, I am. And I don't think we're going to do a preseason negatives. I think it's a pretty short list. I mean, mostly like injuries, and then Rodney Hood looked really bad in his only game action. And then apparently was injured again, which is not great. He
said I think it was his foot injury flared up again, which could be the reason that he didn't look bad.
Yeah.
But it's also like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's concerning in itself, given the way his career has gone so far, which is a bummer. So hoping Rodney Hood gets healthy. But enough.
The Bucks medical staff should be able to handle it. If any NBA team can, it's the Bucks.
Suki's getting that foot right.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but you kind of touched on one of mine, so I'm gonna go first on our list of 4 things. Non-Giannis things to be excited. Giannis is the exclamation point. I even put it.
We have to talk about other things as well.
We have to talk about some other things. So you mentioned my tweet about the offense. I think the Bucks offense is going to be delightful this year. I just listed out all the reasons why, and it's like another list of 4+ things. So here is my incomplete list of why I'm extremely excited to watch the 2021-2 Milwaukee Bucks on offense. And the defense is going to be fun too, but Giannis getting better, we've already covered. Like, watching this Giannis on offense is just it's delightful. Like, when he dunks now, it's just like the dunks are even better because he's got a little bit more space to do it. And he's dunking hard. It's great. So, Giannis. Khris and Jrue playing with confidence and further refining their skills. Khris, we've never seen early season Khris look as good as he looked in the preseason in the games he did play. Did you see my tweet or hear at all about what Marcus Johnson said about Jrue?
No, I missed it.
Chad Forcier, Bucks assistant coach, has been working with Jrue not exclusively, but specifically on lefty and in general just like tough layup finishes. So like converting around the basket. And listen, the threes with Jrue would be great if he hit 37% of his threes all the time. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen throughout a whole playoff run, but we talked about it during those playoffs. Like, just make the layups. Like, he scores. He's going to hit some middies. He'll hit threes now and again. He's so strong. He's crafty. He can get to the rim, but he was just botching the layups. I love that the Bucks are honing in on that and saying, like, let's actually get you better at this because you're going to be like a 20 and 10 guy a lot of nights if you're just finishing at a higher clip around the basket. So, and I think, again, the confidence is going to be really good for Khris and Jrue, like being champions. Grayson, who I think we'll probably talk about at some other point. Maybe Jordan Nwora coming along, who's fun on offense, even if he's not all the way there yet. And Bud seeming to be moving more toward ball screens and Giannis playing as a big. So this was, and I'm excited to let you react to all of this soon. I know I'm talking a ton, but Eric Name wrote a piece about like 3 things, basically factor cap. He did not write it as such, but it was basically factor cap for the Bucks that we've seen so far. And one of them was they've ran a ridiculous amount of screens. They've also played not a lot of rotational minutes. Like, it's been a lot of random players, so to speak. But I do think even in the Giannis minutes, like, I think we're seeing Giannis screen more. I think there's going to be more screening and rolling, which I just think is very good for offense. So all of those reasons, I'm excited to watch the Bucks on offense in general.
Yeah, for sure. You hit on like maybe one or sort of hit on one of my things. I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, it's just going to be fun to see offense in a different Bud system, sort of like an evolved Bud system, I should say, like compared to the defense, like that tweet you had. We saw just last regular season, we saw a bunch of different new stuff tried out on defense. And the thing is, that led to a lot of miscues. There were a lot of problems. So we should temper this a little bit and say that there's going to be some problems with the Bucks offense next regular season. There's going to be issues as they figure stuff out. People are going to be out of position. There's going to be different reads that are missed. People are going to react in ways that they shouldn't in a read and react system. There's just going to be a lot of issues, but that's what is supposed to happen. It's a learning environment. You learn from your mistakes. That's how you hone your skills, and that's what's going to happen. So yeah, I don't want to put a damper on things, but it'll be fun to see new things, but there's going to be some struggle in there.
There's going to be some. I do think it's easier, though, on offense, because, like, defense, like, you're having to react in real time more than offense. Like, on offense, if you mess up, you can rescreen, right? Like, you can kick the ball back out. Like, if something doesn't work.
Yeah.
And worst case, it's like, okay, we'll throw it to Khris and he'll just hit a tough shot. Like,
yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't be surprised
right,
if you see like a lot of like some turnovers where it's like, oh, why weren't you over here when I was passing the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah. Although we've kind of always seen. I'm excited about the offense. I think it's going to be easier than the defense. On defense, if you mess up for 2 seconds, like, someone's dunking, right? Like, it's very immediate and harsh. And that can happen on offense if you throw it away too, but I think that was always kind of happening for the Bucks, and they're still messing up some switches on defense, but they are switching more, which I like. But Giannis and Brooke have gotten some wires crossed. It's early, but I'm excited. So let's go to your list then, Rohan Downer. What's your number one thing to be excited about?
It involves the offense as well,
Okay.
but it's more about like the Jrue and Khris tandem.
Nice.
We talked a lot about during last postseason, like there was a slight level of concern that they both couldn't be high output guys at the same time, aside from like game 5 of the finals where like the big 3 just went off. But it was a very rare occurrence for Jrue and Khris to really, have high offensive outputs in the same game. There was a lot of refinement to be done there. And that plays into what we were talking about the offense. Like, there just needs to be more fluidity to the offense. Khris needs to be able to get to his stuff. Jrue needs to be able to get to his stuff. And again, Jrue making layups, Khris refining his playmaking skills. Both of those really help in that regard. Because Jrue, like you mentioned, he could be a 20 and 10 guy every night with his playmaking and his scoring ability, his ability to get to the rim, his ability to hit step back threes in game 7s for some reason, even though he's been cold the entire game. I don't know. It's still fun, but it's just those two need to. I'm excited to see how they figure it out.
I like that call a lot. I've been thinking about this too. It reminds me, I forget which game it was, but the play where it was like all 3 of the big 3 in an action, and it ends up Khris pocket pass to Jrue, who kicks it out to, I think, Pat on the other on the
It
other
was
wing.
it was a double high screen with Jrue and Khris. Jrue slips the screen. It was against Utah. Jrue slips the initial screen. Khris pocket pass between the two defenders who were going to switch, kicks it to Jrue. One side recovers because there's one guy in either corner. He just has to pick whichever guy recovers and then throw it out to it for an easy corner three. And Pat made the three.
It's just like, I think those
Steve Jones was really on top of that.
Yeah, he's like, because I know him and Nikias on the dunker spot have talked. Nikias Duncan on the dunker spot have talked a lot about like Milwaukee makes it so much harder than they have to by not doing stuff like that more. So that's part of the reason that like the offense being more spicy and more saucy like would be so much fun. And I think really like when we talk about win projections for the Bucks and like 60 plus, if they're doing a lot of stuff like that, that's how you can see like 65 wins on a season. Like, just I don't know how you stop them. The efficiency of those two in the preseason is insane. I don't know if you've looked at these numbers, but Jrue in 23, just under 24 minutes per game, just 12 points because he got like no free throws, but 57% from 2, 43% from 3, 4.7 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 1.3 turnovers, so a very healthy assist to turnover ratio. And then Khris actually led the preseason Bucks in scoring, playing the same minutes per game as Giannis, because he shot 75% from the field, 83% from 3, did not miss a free throw, and also added 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and also 2 turnovers. So I think Khris leading more into like, I'm just going to go make every shot, and Jrue really leading into I'm going to set up every shot actually makes a lot of sense. Even if Khris is going to be the guy to handle the ball in crunch time, like just letting Jrue be even more of a point guard and letting Khris more often, again, he's still going to be handling. We're not taking it away. But when Jrue is out there, like let Khris, like set up Khris, and then Khris can really eat. That's a fun time.
I'm laughing because do you remember when we had this same sort of conversation before?
Yeah.
It was during the postseason or right before the post. I don't remember. Was it our spinster spot?
I think so. Was it?
Yeah, where we were talking about like who should have the ball late game, and we were like, no, it should be Jrue. And then we watched the playoffs. It's like, no, it's Khris.
It's Khris. But I still think like game to game, it makes sense to put it in Drue's hands a lot
for regular season.
Yeah.
Regular season.
Well, and a part of it too is like, you know, I think Jrue is a slightly better playmaker. Khris is just Jrue is like everyone's more useful if Drew's on the ball because the other guys do more off the ball. Like I think Khris is much more dangerous as a shooter. Obviously, no one in the world is more dangerous than Giannis. Like if he's cutting and rolling to the basket. So putting Jrue on the ball,
or as a shooter.
Now also as Dirk. But Jrue on the ball, I think makes the best sense of everyone's skill sets. And I think he's like slightly better of a traditional point guard. Like I think over the course of a game, letting him have the ball a lot makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I think now clearly you need one possession to win. You're putting the ball in Khris's hands and Giannis is screening for him. And you're telling the defense make an impossible decision. And even if you're right, you might still lose because either one of those guys can just beat good coverage at their areas of the floor. So I think Khris has convinced us, but I think Jrue is going to pile up a good amount of assists this year.
Yeah, he did it last year, and this is year 2 of him in the system. So he's going to get more comfortable. Yeah, it really is. It makes a big difference. Like, especially with this group led by Khris and Giannis, they've shown like it takes time for them to really blend and mesh together. And Jrue's a part of that. Like, Jrue's an insanely talented player. So it's just, that's how you can win a championship in year 1. So year 2, you're only getting better.
I'm so excited. I had to put excited in the episode title on the cron. If you're watching on YouTube, it's been on the screen the whole time. I'm so excited. That's like I just keep thinking about how excited I am about the this year's
less than a week away.
Oh my goodness.
No, not even less than a week.
A couple days
3
away.
days.
Yeah. Let's get it.
4 days. So I thought the season started on Monday.
I know. We had this conversation like less than a week ago. Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing you didn't think it started on Wednesday, and then like you go to bed really early on Tuesday. You wake up and what the hell did I miss?
The Bucks beat the Nets by 50. Wait, I thought they played tonight.
Okay, I want to do my next one because it's actually newsy. I was gonna do it first, but the offensive thing just tied in so well.
Of course, let's do it.
And I'm kind of shoehorning this in here just to appreciate this person and because they were in the news. But I'm excited for John Horst's midseason move, which he will certainly make. And this is on the heels of huge Woj flex. He quoted a podcast with Horst on it in the story, the breaking news story about John Horst getting all we know is multi-year contract extension. You have to assume
several more years. That's all we got.
So he had 2, I think, or like a year and an option remaining.
I think I think it was a year and an option.
So could be like 5 years. It could be even longer than Bud's current contract with the Bucks, which would make sense.
Imagine it is.
Yeah, he's probably not as eager to get out if things go wrong as Bud.
And plus, you don't want to have like your GM and coach up for contracts at the same exact time because like your GM is going to be in charge of coaching stuff. So
yeah, but let's just talk about Horst for a minute. We don't do this all that often, but obviously not perfect, has made mistakes as the lead executive of the Bucks. But I mean, you talk about a run of moves that got them in championship position and now are keeping them in contention. Fire Kid, hire Bud, extend Giannis, trade for Jrue, acquire Bobby, re-sign Bobby. He never re-signed Khris, did he? Was Khris already?
I believe so.
I'm not sure if he ever re-signed.
No, he did.
Did he re-sign?
Because it was the Tobias Harris summer.
Oh, you're right. So he's literally signed all 3 members of the Big 3 to like 4+ year extensions.
And Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah, the Bledsoe one was not so good. But honestly, I think that goes to what's best about Horst. Well, it's just like he's always able to flip it, right? He's always able to, I messed this one up. I should have kept Brogdon, not Bledsoe. That became clear. But we're gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot away out of it, and we are going to always do what we can, whatever we can, within ownership's budgetary constraints. Horst wanted to keep PJ for sure. He just did. Like the quotes were very obvious that he wanted to. Whatever. If you want to put some of that on Horst, that's fine. I personally don't. I think he wanted to keep him the way he talked about the bird rights, but whatever. You can if you don't want to divorce those things. That's fine. I still think it's relatively minor. And he got him in the first place in time for him to be a starter on the championship team. But I think there's this common thing that he's average or worse. I've seen people say this, which I think is insane. But he didn't get Giannis. He didn't get Khris. Like, he retained both of them when it wasn't. I mean, Giannis always was, but it wasn't.
But Ty, apparently keeping your guys what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's so easy. I don't know why more teams just don't always retain their great players. It's
just ask Toronto.
If you're in a small market, everyone knows it's the default that you keep your guys forever. That's why Anthony Davis.
Even big markets again. Ask Toronto.
Well,
Vince, Bosh, T-Mac, Kawhi, Lowry.
Kyle Lowry. Yeah. No, I think honestly, Horst draft record, like Merrill
started off
30,
real bad.
Yeah.
DJ Wilson.
Jason Kidd loved DJ Wilson. All I'm saying about that one.
But he got Sterling Brown in the second round.
Yeah, who's now might start for the Mavericks this year. I wish he would have gotten in shape when he was a Buck. But Nwora looks good. Mamu's been interesting. Merrill put up 30 as the last pick in the draft in the preseason. We'll see about Kaladzakis, but my favorite thing about him is the resourcefulness and just the commitment to doing whatever it takes to put Giannis in a situation to win, because we don't always see that. We do not always see that. Golden State is going into the year with 3 rotation players who are rookies or a second-year player who actively bomb the team as a rookie. And they just cut Avery Bradley to save luxury tax money. So
wait, but he's the new Wilt.
Yeah, of course he is.
Do you see that?
No, I didn't.
No, they made an intro video where a CGI Wilt is standing behind James Wiseman.
That's a team that employed Wilt at one point, isn't it?
Yep.
That's disgraceful. That's absolutely disgraceful. That would be like if you put Marcus Johnson behind Kaladzakis. Get out of here with that. Come on. Have some respect for your franchise legends, Joey Lightyears. Have some. That's terrible. I wish I hadn't known that because it pissed me off. But But it's true. You don't always see teams willing to go all in for this year. And the Bucks kind of always are. And I think they've gotten made fun of for it. They got panned when they did the Jrue trade. But look what happens when you give a guy like Giannis a window. And I appreciate that a lot about Horst. Congrats to him. He's going to get some nice role player for peanuts. I mean, I didn't even mention the Grayson Allen trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is incredible.
I mean, Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill.
Maybe it wasn't worth it. Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe he's just giving old friend Taylor Jenkins a present.
Yeah, they needed a second franchise player in case JJJ doesn't pan out to go with John.
Do you see Jaren Jackson hit a step back three after an insane move against the Bulls? It was wild.
I can't believe it wasn't against the Bucks. I feel like against the Bucks, he is like an 80% 3-point shooter.
He had like a hardened step back, and I was like, oh my god,
I love
Jaren.
That's not what I need from him.
But still, it shows his range.
It does.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Ty, you want to know how we're both we've both been podcasting for a little bit now.
How?
Because I had a takeaway so we could talk about Horst.
Really? You had Horst as one of yours too?
No, I didn't. I said I was interested to see how the Bucks handled their backup big spot, which I was going to segue into talking about Horst and his extension.
I mean, also, I had a note about that. I haven't tweeted this. I've been saving this for the pod. I thought about tweeting it, but I said, no, this is a pod take only. # pod take. But don't tweet it. It's only for the pod. It's a pod hashtag. The Bucks have leaned into this Spurs thing, right? Like they enjoy the Spurs comparison. And it's one thing to say things, Joey Lightyears, but it's another to actually like go and do things. Locking up all three of the best players, the GM and the coach, that is some real Spursy. That's a Spursy thing to do. It's like we're keeping everyone. We're not going to be the Cavs and let the GM force the GM out after a few years and let things get bad with the coach. Like we are going to retain everyone. We're just going to keep building this core because we believe in it. It's a good thing. Like I'm happy about the org, but talk about Horst because you also were going to bring up Horst, which I think we are a good pod. Shout out to us. Shout out to us.
Yeah. Well, we already talked about Horst, so we could just talk about the backup big stuff in the sense that I'm excited. This is how I'm framing it. I'm excited to see how they handle that sort of situation because this is mostly about the regular season. In the playoffs, we know Brook, Giannis as a center tandem. That's enough. That is more than enough. But the regular season isn't it. It's a different issue. Last regular season, we saw Bobby Portis be the de facto backup five. He was for the entirety of the season. In the playoffs, they sort of learned that maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe
not
Bobby
solo.
is better.
Yeah,
Bobby is better as a four, though he did survive in the regular season. So maybe that's just the answer to that question. You just roll with Bobby again. But if they do fully lean into Bobby at the four for the entirety of the regular season and playoffs, you need to figure out that backup big spot.
Yeah.
And I had faith early. I was maybe overreacting to preseason a little bit. I had some faith in Mamu. But as the competition got tougher, he looked rough.
Yeah, I think we're seeing
2 down stocks in a row.
Yeah.
Shout out to the GSPN Substack where you can find the exclusive home of the Bucks stock market.
I don't know what I'm pointing at. GSPN.
You're pointing at the Gyro Step logo.
That's always good. bit.ly/find GSPN for the Substack and everything else we do. Mamu stock cratered at the end there. He needs some time in Oshkosh, I think. So the backup, this ties into one of my other things. I am excited to see if Horst acquires a big. I don't even know if the Bucks feel that press. I guess it depends on health. They keep talking. Every time this subject comes up, they mention the same player. And it's not Bobby Portis. It's Semi Ojeleye. They always talk about, every time, Horst, Bud, like, oh, we really miss Shemi for this big spot. I think we want to play smaller, which honestly...
How do you miss him if you haven't had him?
That's
deep.
They've like spiritually they're used to, I don't know.
He has not played a game for the Milwaukee Bucks in the entirety of the universe. And you can't miss him.
In the entirety of the universe. But clearly they're planning on using him as maybe a small ball 5 even, like at least a 4. So I'm excited just for Shemi's season to see like what the hell is this going to look like? Because this was not the Bucks' MO. Like they weaponized their size and won a title. There's still going to be your eyebrow raise when I said that was absolutely. We're going to clip that, but but like they've always leaned into playing big. It's like Brook and Giannis, and I think they're leading a lot more into Giannis as basically a 5 and pieces around him. But the way they keep talking about Shemi, like, are we going to see? We've seen Pat as the 4 now. We've seen that in the preseason, or like at least Pat and Khris as kind of like co-4s. But we're taking credit. We were on that way earlier. We were on Pat C as more of a 4 than a 2 for like a full year now. So that's panning out. I think we're going to see some Pat and Shemi 4 or 5 groups that just switch everything. I'm kind of excited. Like, I don't know if it's going to work great.
You just got me excited about that.
It's going to be weird, and I can't wait. Like, what the hell is like George Hill, Khris Middleton, I don't know, Grayson, Pat, Shemi is going to be like a random lineup of mostly bench
players.
That
lineup sounds awful.
I don't know. I don't know if it does.
Maybe Nwora instead of Allen there.
Sure. Whatever floats your boat. I went with Allen because
get some more playmaking.
The one I said, Khris would have to do a lot, Khris and Hill, but it's like there's a lot of switchability there, and I think they're leading into that more, and I'm excited to see what that looks like. So I'm excited for Shemi's season. I think he's going to be good. Like I think they talk about him like he's going to be really good. We'll see.
See, that's what I'm worried about. I'm so trepidatious about this because we haven't seen anything.
I know. Well, it's more. I'm just saying, like, I want to see how they do it because the way they're talking, it sounds like they're going to play really small.
It sounds like they're going to play Shemi a lot.
I know, like they're all in.
We haven't seen anything.
After we got to pull the live.
His Boston career wasn't insane.
Listen,
it's not like he would have to improve a lot. And he would have to relied upon to have improved a lot for him to fill the role that the Bucks want him to play. Which, like, I want to believe in him. Sure, I want to believe that is true. I just need to see it.
I know. Listen, the last time they brought someone from the outhouse to the penthouse, it went really well. And I think they said it worked for Teague. Teague was somehow an important rotational player for us. We're just gonna assume Shemi is too. I don't know.
Did you hear Kemba Walker on the low post?
I didn't.
By any chance? He was talking about his bot. Like Zach just point blank asked him, like, what's going on in Boston? Why are the vibes always off? He was just like, he didn't answer. He was like, man, I don't know. All I know is that I'm a positive person, and I'm the most positive person.
Now I need to hear Teague on the low post. Just I need 30 minutes on the penthouse to outhouse analogy and just like what really went into that. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous. Like it almost seems. It's funny because you say the hype. It's not like national NBA hype. It's very specific to like Bucks Twitter and like people who really follow the Bucks. But the org seems pumped and jacked about Shemi. So it's like I'm just so intrigued to see what exactly they're gonna do with him.
I'm really wondering what the extent of his calf strain is, because that's also just concerning in general.
Yeah.
So again, I almost asked, do we have a timetable? I should just assume no.
We never have a timetable. Like, what would a lineup? What if they do Portis and Shemi? And like, I don't even know how it works, but you're switching everything. You have Shemi as the defensive big and Portis as the offensive big. So like, Shemi maybe is guarding the 5 and Portis is on a bigger wing. But on offense, Portis is like rolling and posting.
Shemi in the corner.
Yeah, Shemi's in the corner or like cutting on offense. Like, it's going to be interesting. I'm very excited.
Bobby cutting and posting, like he's not just going to take face up mid range.
Yeah, we know it. Bobby's going to be in the middle of the floor, probably with the ball.
Bobby's going to be doing Bobby things, which is awesome.
Yeah, we love Bobby. Can't wait to see him back too. But
oh yeah, we haven't seen him at all this preseason.
Only in the open scrimmage,
which we didn't see.
True. Okay, what's your next source of excitement?
Let's go with not necessarily a new face, but a new role for someone, and that's Jordan Nwora. It's hard not to be excited about Jordan Nwora after the preseason.
I thought it was going to be you saying TA is ready to step into 12 points a game here.
I mean, I've been there, so I don't really need to be excited about it. That's just my mindset going into every season. But Jordan Nwora, it was interesting to see him get the start. Maybe not super interesting, but he got the start with Khris Middleton being out. So it was more minutes with him with most of the regular starters. And correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I didn't see the game thanks to my internet. But it wasn't awful. Like he had some nice pass. Like he had
got
some
the
nice
down
cuts.
stock. He did get the down.
He did
stock.
get the down stock.
I didn't love his game. He shot. He pressed a little too much. But it wasn't awful, and it wasn't super discouraging. It was just like a little. I just think he pressed a little bit being out there with the starters, which is normal.
Yeah, it's like you're trying too hard.
Yeah,
in that. It's like you're trying to blend the role of being the guy in the first couple preseason games to like, okay, now you're like the fifth option.
Yeah, exactly.
it's a tough rope to really. What's the expression?
Tough road to hoe.
What?
You never heard that?
No.
like the old school hoe, like using a hoe on dirt. Not, yeah. I think that's. Let me Google that. I'm pretty sure that's an expression.
It's a tug of war. I'll say.
Oh, okay, that's a completely different thing. Yeah, tough/hard road to hoe. It's road to. Oh, it's row to hoe, not road. Row, like a row of plants. I always thought it was road. It's in Merriam-Webster. It's real.
Okay. This is just a running bit of me on the pod learning expressions. So let's just add this to the list. But Jordan, where it's hard to imagine he doesn't get in like significant minutes to start. Maybe not significant, but significant for him in his like compared to what he got last season, going into this regular season, especially with Dante still out whenever he's coming back. So you need another guy. And Jordan Nwora is primed to be that guy. We've talked a lot about his defense, his playmaking, is why he needs to be, he needs to work on that. And once he works on that, then he should have like a solid rotational role in this Bucks system. Honestly, at this point, I'm like, whatever, man, you could score. Like, I literally in my notes here, I wrote defense is overrated when you're a bucket.
Well, if you think about it, like the player he would most seamlessly be fitting in for is Forbes, who could do none of that stuff either. Like I think that's the difference between a rotation.
And he can do more than Forbes.
He can. I think that's the difference between a rotation spot in the playoffs versus the regular season. Like I agree. Even if Nwora is not the dimer, what do you have, like 3 assists? And I was like, he's literally never done that before.
Yeah.
Even if he's not a dimer or a defender, like I think he'll still play because Forbes wasn't either of those things either, and he played. And I think I agree with you. He's going to, at least to start the year. If you look at the 5 starters are going to be the 4 we're used to, and Grayson to start. I think with Dante out, that's been the lineup. That was always pretty obvious. Portis is going to play when he's healthy. We'll see if he's ready for game 1. Then it's like Pat is going to play. Hill is going to play. And after that, it's really like it's Nwora is the next guy up. And what is that, 9th, I think? Like 9th guy? Like that's minutes. That's real minutes. That's around Forbes-y minutes. And we'll see, like, when Dante comes back, I'm sure he's going to slide in somewhere. It'll probably take him a while to get back into playing a lot of minutes. But, you know, is Hood even going to have a chance to get that role? Maybe not, depending on how he comes along and how good Nwora looks. It's going to be exciting. I'm kind of glad. I'm never glad to see an injury, but I'm glad it's shaking out in a way that, like, Nwora is going to get a real chance to play. I don't think there's a scenario where he has one bad game and doesn't play for the rest of the first month. Like, I think he's going to have to play for the first month.
He's going to have a longer leash.
Yeah, which is good. Like, if he ends up benched by, like, right before the playoffs because he's still not coming along as a passer or defender, and they're like, okay, Hood came along, and Shemi, I forgot about Shemi. Shemi's healthy, and we're really liking what he does, then fine. If you want to value defense, value defense. But at least he's going to get some experience and some of that necessary playing time to work on that stuff. So that's pretty exciting. So it'll be really fun to watch him early in the year and see, can he marry being a bucket with being a productive member of the offense?
Basically, what we're wondering is, what kind of potential does he have? Because we talked about earlier, you joked about the light years Warriors and going all in on like player development while maintaining like a championship core, and that's untenable. But you have to try at least. And this is the Bucks guy, right? With the most potential?
Easily. Yeah. If you're looking at like not
It's
counting.
him. It's him or Dante or Yorgos or Mamu.
Yeah, Mamu would be the other one I think who's like younger. I mean, Giannis, who knows? But I don't think you really count him in these discussions.
No.
Yeah, he's already that guy.
But you have to try a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go all in like the Warriors did, obviously. But if you have a guy, you got to try, especially if there's an opportunity for him to play.
Yeah,
like there is with Nwora. And he can actually currently be productive. Like we have no idea what Moses Moody or Jonathan Kuminga can. Moody. That's the best thing Perk has contributed to basketball media.
easily.
I don't think it's gonna be topped anytime soon.
No, not a chance.
We have no idea what those guys are gonna do. Yeah. We know what Jordan Nwora can do.
Score. So, Nwora the scorer.
Nice.
That's not me. That's been on Twitter. That's been on Twitter. Okay. I would love to take credit.
Maybe I'm not online enough.
That's good. That's good. We should all strive to be like that. I agree. I'm excited about Nwora the scorer. Nwora more scoring. It's like the opposite of swiper, no swiping. That was bad. Okay. Let's move on. Third in preseason scoring for the Bucks per game, by the way. First in total by a mile, but just behind Khris and Giannis in only a couple more minutes per game. 43, nice. 41, 83 shooting splits for Nwora. 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists.
Man, he can score.
Yeah, 1.8 turnovers.
We haven't really focused on like, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like Khris being ready to go to start the season, which has not been a thing in years past. And it's just like maybe having a very, very short off season where you're very busy playing a lot of basketball helps.
Yeah, he just never turned it off. Like as long as he can keep it going. Otherwise, if you're going to be cold, Khris,
and he can stay healthy.
Yeah, be cold in November. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, maybe Khris should like always find something to play in. Like Khris just shows up to TBT and takes home $1 million for fun. Like I got to keep playing. It's my thing.
If Khris shows up to TBT and wins the $1 million and just keeps it, that would be the most disrespectful thing in the history of basketball.
What would Khris
He's going up against? No, wait, overseas elite isn't a thing anymore, right? So he just shows. He just shows up against these random college teams.
Yeah, it's
and
him just against like Buddy Boeheim and Syracuse, old Syracuse guys. He's just annihilating everyone. That'd be fun.
It'd be a insane entertainment value, but you have to like give the money to whoever you beat in the championship round.
Like, what happens if like I don't think NBA players could actually do it.
No,
imagine if like
eligible.
Khris, Jrue, and Giannis just showed up. We would like to do this.
Can we enter this tournament?
Team building.
The entire Milwaukee Bucks, just like after they win their back-to-back champion Milwaukee Bucks, it's like, yeah, we'll enter the TBT. Why not?
They're gonna give all the money to Bobby Portis because he's earned it for these pay cuts.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was gonna say the Gyro Step, but Bobby.
Okay, sure, that works too. All right, my final thing, my last thing on my list. We touched on it a little bit earlier, a couple times, but this might be your last thing. You have one more thing as well, correct? Yeah. Grayson Allen.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. So you have some other aspect to this, but I am excited about Grayson Allen being what I think offensively like the perfect fifth starter for the Bucks. Like I am thrilled about the Grayson experience. I'm thrilled about the trade. I don't care that Merrill had 30 in a preseason game. I truly do not. I am stoked about Grayson Allen. I think the combination. I know. So Eric Name tweeted about. Eric is gonna always get cited on the pod because he's great. Follow Eric if you don't. But and now great at play-by-play too, or at color commentary too, I should say. But Grayson heard from Giannis like because they did the inverted pick and roll, and I don't think Grayson shot quickly enough or something. I might have actually missed the play, but it was like Giannis will let you know you got to shoot if you're in that position, and it's funny and it's true, but also like Name cited like Corver and Forbes as the guy that did that a lot before with. How exciting is it to have a guy that can do that and is enough a credible enough shooter, but also like can handle the ball, has athleticism, can dunk, can drive, can pass. Like I think it's going to open up the offense so much. We've talked about it on the last pod a lot, but
who needs Bogdan when you have Grayson Allen?
Exactly. not all the way, but sort of. That's actually not a terrible, like, is he 80% of Bogdan? That's a pretty good player.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's
but
bouncier than Bogdan. Did you see the clip that OG Jeezy, shouts to OG Jeezy.
Yeah, OG Jeezy's like post-championship, OG Jeezy's tweets have been on another level.
He got a clip of the pregame where I think Zora was talking mid-court, and then you can just see players in the background. And then you can see Grayson Allen just do this like wild 360 split-legged dunk, and it's like, oh my God.
Now they're calling him Tracy McGrayson. Earlier, I saw him. They typed
Grayson Allen.
Yeah, Grayson Allen. Like
Ray Allen.
Yeah, the comps are just tremendous, and I don't endorse any of them as actual comps, but the meme potential.
I endorse all of them.
The meme potential of just equating Grayson Allen to all these all-time great wing players is just incredible.
I also saw like a tweet that the Bucks have like all the bounciest white guys in the league.
It's true. It's very true.
Market insufficiency, apparently.
I just love one last OG Jeezy tweet note. Like when Steve Jones clipped the double drag screen, Khris to Jrue to Pat. Just Bud won the championship and now he's in his bag. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, I want to see Bud put like Spain pick and rolls and all the fun hoop nerd stuff. Like 1-1 on hard mode. Now we're gonna have some fun. But yeah, Grayson Allen, exciting.
Yeah, very, very excited. I think I've talked a lot about him being supercharged Tony Snell. That might be underselling him a little bit.
I told you.
A little bit. I'm not convinced that it's underselling him by a lot. Because supercharged Tony Snell is incredible.
Supercharged Tony Snell. Supercharged Tony Snell is like. See, I don't want to add the ball handling. That's the thing, because like that's what Tony Snell lacked, was like the ball handling. But it's like it is.
I don't know if Grayson has that though.
He has a lot more than Tony Snell does.
That's why he's supercharged.
When I think of supercharged, I think of like all the things that player does well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like like supercharged Tony Snell is Clay.
Wow, that's good.
That's Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
like it's hard to think of, because most of the two-way wings who are like that, like the Kawhis and Paul Georges, they end up like getting so much better at handling with the usage, and then it's like, okay, completely.
Khris Middleton, the disrespect.
Yeah, Khris is up there too. It's a good one.
Come on, man, we're a pro Khris Middleton podcast.
Well, maybe I have him on a whole different tier. Maybe you disrespected him. Maybe to me he's supercharged Tony Snell.
I mean, I did say he's better than Prime Paul George.
You did. Hey, he might get back there again.
I don't know. PG's gonna have it all to himself this year, and he looked damn good in the playoffs.
PG have it all.
Yeah, but Grayson. I am very excited. I'm very excited. But that sort of leads into what I was saying, and that's just the Grayson Dante battle. Like that's what this season really is. I mean, obviously it's more than that, but in terms of those two players, this is a regular season to see which one of them is staying with the Bucks, which one of them is getting the extension. Maybe not. I mean, there's a world where neither of them get it, but yeah. I believe that one of them is staying.
Yeah, if it's not an extension, they'll get re-signed, right? Like I agree. One of them will be the starter.
Is getting a new deal.
Yeah, one of them will be the 2022-23 starter, most likely.
And one of them's going to be on a different team.
But yeah, one of them probably is somewhere else by then.
One of them might get traded by the trade deadline.
Exactly.
We'll see. So there's like a solid couple month stretch, and Grayson has a head start. Who knows if Dante's even back by the trade deadline?
That's crazy.
Because we're back to a normal calendar, so it's February, January, February. Okay, I should trust myself. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because, like you said, one of them is going to be the starter next season. One of them's not. So how is that going to play? If Grayson Allen is playing really well and Dante comes back, how many minutes does Dante get? Like, how can you take away from Grayson if he's successful? Yeah. And on the flip side, if Grayson isn't really panning out with the starters and Dante comes back, is it like sort of like a two-man rotation in that regard? Like, are you sort of splitting those minutes? Are you sort of spot starting one versus the other? It's a game by game. I know Bud doesn't like to do that, so maybe not that. Yeah. But which one is he going to roll with? Which one is he going to have more faith in? He's been a Dante guy. Like, Dante was his guy. Starting out, he was like the one young guy he started to play during his rookie season. And then he obviously dealt with injuries, so it didn't really work out. And then last year, he's the starter. And again, he gets injured in the playoffs. Grayson's here. Grayson's going to be a starter. Is he going to stick with him? I'm very, very excited to see how that battle plays out.
I have a question for you following on that same note.
Okay.
So we agree the most likely scenario, and we're talking about next year. One of them is on the roster. One is not. Correct. Which of these other two scenarios is more likely? Both of them are on the roster, or neither of them is on the roster?
Both.
I think so too. I don't think it's likely.
It's hard. It's very, very difficult to go from, one, just losing a draft pick after their rookie contract is not very common, especially one who's been a starter for
Jabari Parker, baby. It's not unheard of for the Bucks.
You're right. It's not unheard of for the Bucks, but it's a rare occurrence.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Oh God!
Bucks are not trying to pay these guys who are not named Khris, Jrue, Giannis, and
oh God, you might be. Maybe it is neither.
I don't think it's neither. I think if it's neither, they probably made some sort of a move that we didn't see coming to get somebody else. Like I don't think
Bogdan's here? Question mark?
They have no salary. That's what stinks. Like about the trades this year. Like I think it's going to be honestly
extend one of them right now and trade him.
I think it's more likely. That's tough. I think it's more likely a change of scenery deal, where they flip a Dante or a Grayson, but probably a Dante, for someone else, like near the end of a rookie deal. And both teams are just like, let's take a look at this other guy. We don't want to pay for our guy. Maybe we'll want to pay that guy. Like I think that's the most likely. I've dug into so many. You have to include more players. The Bucks won't want to do that. But I think neither. The most likely is like somehow they find a two guard or whatever that they're like, oh wow, this guy's even better. Is it Nwora? What if Nwora has an insane year and ends up as a star?
Nwora is more of a 3 or 4.
I think. Well, then call Khris a 2. I don't know. I don't think it's likely. Listen, I don't think it's likely, but I think the neither.
I still think the more likely scenario, like most likely, we both agree one of them's on.
One of them, yeah. But I think if it's neither, I don't think they would just lose both. They're both going to be restricted at the end of the year. So like the Bucks would either they insanely cheap out or they're just like we are going in a different direction. And that could be exciting. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be a midseason move.
You could have like a sign and trade as well.
Yeah, but it just gets tough with the cap and everything. But
you'd be
because then you're hard capping, and the Bucks have to be careful about doing that.
Yeah, they can't really hard cap themselves, especially with Bobby. Bobby presumptively getting a new deal next offseason. If they don't, what do you think is the reaction if Bobby doesn't get a new deal next offseason?
Unless it's like an actual trade to bring in someone else, very bad. Which I would be surprised by that.
Even if he doesn't have like the greatest season, he needs a deal.
Yeah.
I almost said it's like a Dirk-esque deal, like a thank you deal.
I'm not going to comment on it at all because I enjoy the Bucks having all the second round draft picks they are currently projected to own. Don't say anything, Rohan.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I said I don't want to compare it to that.
Okay, perfect.
That's my quote.
I don't want to compare it to Joe Smith, who cost the Timberwolves 2 first-round picks.
What?
Cap circumvention. Look it up.
It's crazy. Yes. Okay. Well, are we both done with our takeaways?
I think so.
Okay. Well, we do have some news that concerns GSPN.
Okay.
We have a new free agent on the market that would intrigue one Adam McGee.
Oh boy.
Can you guess who it is?
Ersan?
No, it's Harry Giles. He got waived by the Clippers.
Oh, did he really? Oh, yeah, because they kept... Okay, here's the thing.
Hartenstein.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's exciting to hear Harry Giles is available until you hear Isaiah Hartenstein beat him out for the roster spot.
Yeah. That was more of a joke.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good joke.
But yeah, I think we are both very, very, very excited for this regular season, which starts on Tuesday. I now know against the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, it'll be exciting. There's going to be a watch party outside at the Deer District for the ring ceremony. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a very fun night.
We don't know if they're streaming the ring ceremony yet. I heard.
They should. They always do.
They have.
No, they show it on
TV.
TV.
Be on TV. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be on because it's a TNT game.
Right? Yeah. First game of the year.
Imagine if it's not nationally televised.
NBA TV.
NBA TV for the first game of the season,
Ugh.
for the potential title
If
matchup
it wasn't
again.
the Nets, that would have been on the table, I think.
Yeah, but you have to.
No, yeah.
Like it's always the defending champs are usually like one of the first two games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be on Tuesday nights. It's an exciting time. Ty, we're back. It's almost the regular season again. We're all the way back.
We're here.
Yeah.
The day someone's listening to this, it might be that day. I mean, we're dropping this on Saturday. If so, congratulations for being in the future. We have to wait a few more days to get there, but I think people can tell. I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. I think the odds of repeating look strong. I think Giannis looks great. Khris and Jrue look great. Everyone looks great. You look great. I look
thanks,
okay.
man. You look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel great. Outside from my allergies killing me on this pod. But otherwise, I feel great.
Shout out to No Allergy Gang.
Must be nice.
It is. On that note, let's wrap this up. Say thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on the Gyro Step Podcast Network and the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We got a lot of stuff to plug. We got the GSPN YouTube channel, Gyro Step Podcast Network on YouTube, the Gyro Step Substack, gspn.substack.com. Like I mentioned, the exclusive home of the Bucks stock market. We got to talk about how we're going to play this during the regular season. But yeah, that's where you'll find most of me and Ty, occasionally Adam and Jordan writing our stock movements after the conclusion of each game. It's a little post-game wrap-up plus the stock market as usual. So, nice little handy thing there. I couldn't think of a word. So make sure
indispensable resource for Bucks fans. Really.
That is perfect. There we go. That's why it's big time Ty. So we got to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that. So make sure you're subscribed to the Gyro Step Podcast Network on your podcast platform of choice. Leave a 5-star review on Apple. 5 stars, only 5. If it's less than 5, just don't bother. Just make sure it's 5. Or even if you think it's like a 1 star, just accidentally click 5.
Click 5 and then tear us a new one in the review. And
that works for
do
us.
That. Yeah.
That works.
Make fun of us. Dunk on me. Don't dunk on Rohan. That's stupid.
No, that's fine.
Dunk on Adam McGee for for losing Jeopardy so hard. We have to do that again at some point. But
yep, don't dunk on me for any aspect of Jeopardy. But yeah, thank you again for listening. Hopefully you're all excited about the season like we are. Take care, and we will talk to you next time.